Okay, just a quick vid, really short one this time. I did put the heads on, following on from the last video, I did put the heads on without the gaskets just to check that those dowels don't stop it going down, and they do. They sit completely flush without the gasket, and there's a bit of movement on them as well, so, well, not a bit of movement, but they don't feel like they're stopping, so I think it's fine. I just wanted to check just to be 100% sure. But they're touching, they're mating up. It looks like there's a gap, but there's not actually. When you look sort of there, they seem to mate up quite nicely. I realise now, talking about these blanks here, I think maybe that's originally blanked and they've been on a different engine or something. But obviously the water goes in there, circulates round there, and work goes around that way. I still don't know what these are for. Maybe 4.5s, or early engines have that and later engines don't, or later engines have that, and because if it's a later engine, maybe it doesn't use them, it uses that instead. I don't know. Just in the process of putting the motor mounts on. I think these are the later sort. I think the early ones are like a solid mount, and they have like a little damper or something, like a shock absorber thing on. Because there is a point on my car where the wishbone bolt's on, where it looks like something was bolted on. I think with these kind of mountings, I think these are hydroelastic. They've got kind of fluid in, I think. More like a modern mounting. You don't have the shock absorber because there's nowhere to bolt it to, I believe. But they're a bit rusty. I've just given them a quick coat of satin black. But there was no sign of cracking. They feel quite rigid. Obviously, I did leave the bolts in them, like I do everything, just so I know where the bolts are. They are identical, so you can't put them on the wrong way around. They're symmetrical, so one's got a hook on, but whichever way around you put it, the hook moves around whichever side. So you can't put them on wrong. Just a bit of Loctite in there, just the 30mm ones there just go into this, and these long ones go into the intermediate bit, sort of that holds the crank up, and the block as well. So hopefully, well, the bolts obviously do line up because I've got all the bolts started. So I'm just going to tighten them up, and that should be it. I did read up about taking these out. I think these are the oil return, anti-return things. I think when the oil obviously comes up here, I think I might just wash them out and make sure they're clean, and I don't really want to disturb anything I don't need to. As long as they blow out okay, I don't think there'll be an issue. I think obviously it allows the oil to come up when it's pumping up, but doesn't allow it to run back down. So I'm assuming the ball bearing comes up to a certain point. There's like a spring in the ball bearing. I'm assuming the ball bearing comes up to a certain point and it allows the oil through. And then when the oil pressure drops, the ball bearing goes down and blocks off the hole, so the oil can't run back down and empty the hydraulic lifters at the top. I'm thinking that must be how it works. But I'm going to give them a good blowout and have a good look at them with the light and stuff. I don't think I'm going to disturb them unless I have to. The head has all been washed out since it's been machined, etc. So yeah, I don't think there's much else to do really. I think I might be able to put the alternator power steering pump on. I'm not sure if I can before I do the cam bolt or not. I'll have to have a look, turn it round. I think that's the all bits I can do. I can put the blanks on here, the ones I have got new gaskets for them. I think it's these ones that have got I can't remember now. I can't remember which have got the blanks. I think it's the front ones have the blanks on, and these are the takeoffs. I can't remember. It's one or the other. I did take pictures of the heads when I was taking them off, so I should be able to work that out. It's looking like I'm probably going to end up hopefully getting the car in and doing the gearbox service and stuff this weekend on Sunday, if there's nothing stuck on the lift from my day job. So yeah, just to show you them motor mounts. If I could put shock absorbers on it, like the earlier ones as well, but I would imagine you can't. I would imagine they're not needed. These are pretty robust things. They're bloody expensive as well when I've looked into these. So that ties in with the fact that it's probably a late engine as well. One thing I am a bit unsure about is this gasket here. They're quite thin, the gasket. I mean, this has all been cleaned up and with fine paper and really smooth and nice. And people say, oh, just put them together dry, but they always leak or whatever. Put them together dry with no sealer, but I can't see it, to be honest. I can't see that that's going to be perfectly flat. And a paper gasket's going to do it. And if a paper gasket goes on, my experience with those sort of paper card gaskets is eventually the oil soaks through them and then they start to seep slightly. So I think I'm just going to put a smear of, I'm not going to use my high temp sealer because that's a bit thick. I think I'm just going to put a smear of blue Hylamar all over this surface, put the gasket on, and then same on the cam carrier, and then, you know, bolt it all together and torque it up. I understand people saying do it dry because obviously you've got a thickness of a bit of sealer there, but if I just put a smear on, it'll ooze out and it'll create a film. I think you've got less chance of it leaking that way than any other way, really, to be fair. I mean, you've got this bit here, so obviously there's oil coming up here, and you've got that surface there. So if that's slightly, you know, I've had a flat block on it and it's been fine, but if that's slightly distorted or doesn't tighten down right, you can get a bit of seepage. So a smear of sealer is not going to do any harm, not going to kill anybody. So yeah, all looking good. So maybe tomorrow I'll have a look at putting the alternator and power steering on, and I can sort of thread the wiring through, I think, now as well, because I think it goes, if it goes behind that cam cover, I've got a picture, I think it kind of threads along. So it might be that I have to put the wiring on when I do that as well. It's a bit in the way a little bit, but I want to do as much as I can when I can. To speed things up. I want to get driving it soon. Getting itchy right foot. Okay, I'll speak to you next time.